Hi everyone, it's Marissa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am sharing 5 tips to help you set and actually stick to your New Year's resolutions. If you are new around here, I make videos on how to live a holistic lifestyle so that you can live a more balanced and healthier life. Now, if you are interested in following along, then definitely consider subscribing to my channel. So if you have clicked on this video, then you are most likely somebody who wants to plan and set goals for yourself, especially at the beginning of the year. But as most of us have most likely experienced in the past, myself included, it can be really hard to stick with your resolutions for longer than a couple of months or even a couple of weeks after you create them. So I wanted to share 5 tips to help you overcome this issue and actually have sustainable success with following through on your New Year's resolutions. So tip number 1 is to first set your intentions and then make goals that align with your intentions. So first off, what's the difference? Think of your intentions as your reasons or your why, and your goals as your desired results. Intentions are more vague and focus on the bigger picture, whereas goals are more specific and help us create a roadmap of how to get to wherever it is that we want to go. Now, the main reason why I believe setting an intention is key to following through on your goals is because when we are setting goals, it is usually in the areas of life that require us to change our routines, behaviors, and habits. Change is hard to do no matter what the actual change is, and many of us rely solely on motivation to help us make those changes. The problem with this is that motivation is fleeting. Why? Because it is heavily connected to our emotions, which can go up and down like the stock market. It's easy to feel motivated when you're at a peak. You know, you're feeling good and things are going according to plan. But when you reach a low, approach an obstacle, and you're in a valley, which will happen, expect it, your motivation to do X, Y, and Z will either decrease or just be gone. And it is within those moments where you really need to rely on your intentions and your why, because these will act as the driving force to help you follow through on your goals and keep you focused and directed when your mind wants to give up. Additionally, your goals may change throughout the year, which is totally normal. A big component of finding what works best for you is through trial and error. And when they do change, you can rely on your intentions to help yourself pivot and set new goals while also staying in alignment with what you ultimately want to accomplish, and to do so without feeling guilt. So for example, maybe you are trying to improve your health to feel more energized to play with your kids. So that's your intention, and you say, okay, I'm going to make a goal to go on some sort of a diet to lose some weight. But you have trouble sticking with the diet, and so you stop it. Now, does this mean that you failed at improving your health? No, absolutely not. In fact, depending on what diet you were following, the diet most likely is the thing that failed you and not the other way around. So if the only thing that you did was just set a goal to go on a diet, then in this scenario, you might be tempted to say, I tried it, it didn't work, I failed at it, and then over time just kind of settle back into your old unhealthy eating habits. But because you first set your intention, which was your reason and your why for improving your health, right, which was to feel more energized to play with your kids, then instead of settling back into your old eating habits when the diet didn't work, you can say to yourself, okay, this wasn't sustainable, it didn't work for my body, and that's all right. So now let me go and try something else. So although your goals may shift, you're still on your path to improving your health. I know for myself, I'm very much an achiever. When I have a goal, my attention is like laser beam focused towards that goal. And while that can be very helpful to not get distracted and to keep going after what it is that I want, it also makes it sometimes hard for me when I need to change goals or like balance out my life. Sometimes I feel like I'm knocking on a door that doesn't seem to want to open. And sometimes it's hard for me to accept that and to stop and to, pivot and try something else without feeling like I have failed. And in those moments, I don't have a lot of motivation to keep going, but because I have set intentions for myself and I believe in my mission and I'm doing what I feel called to do and I am internally driven to keep pursuing it no matter what comes my way, I just remind myself that I didn't really fail, and there really is no such thing as failure unless you stop trying. I was just learning what not to do and how to improve on a particular skill. And this all really helps me to just pick myself back up again. Okay, that's the key, and keep going, to not give up and to try a new tactic until I get where I ultimately want to be. So all that being said, I really encourage you to first make your intentions and then follow them up with your goals, which I will be talking about in tip number 2. So tip number 2 is to break down your big goals into smaller attainable goals and to be realistic with those goals. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I love to teach health and wellness from a holistic point of view. And so a huge component of living holistically is that our life is a journey and not a destination. Setting big goals are great, and I definitely encourage you to dream big, but don't stop there. Break down your big goals into realistic, smaller, attainable ones. This is important because, one, big goals can feel really daunting and overwhelming, and you may feel like you just don't know where to start. And because of that, sometimes you don't start and you just kind of keep pushing it off. Number 2, we can get so focused on achieving our big goals that we tend to miss out on the little joys of life that are around us each and every single day. And so when we create small, realistic goals and approach them one at a time, working towards them doesn't feel quite so scary and overwhelming. It also gives you an opportunity to celebrate several victories along the way as you work towards each goal. This not only helps you enjoy the process and the journey more, but it also helps you build your confidence. Confidence is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you work it. Now, you want to make your goals realistic, because if you don't, then in my opinion, you're almost doing yourself a disservice, because when you don't reach the goal because it's, unrealistic or unsustainable, then you may end up hurting your self-confidence. Remember, mindset is key to achieving your goals and making progress towards your intentions. So here's an example. Maybe you went to the doctor and they told you that you have high blood sugar and you are progressing towards developing type 2 diabetes. So if you make a goal and say that you're going to quit eating all forms of sugar and carbohydrates for an indefinite period of time. Now, in my opinion, this is unrealistic. Okay, sugar is in everything: baked goods, yogurt, cereals, condiments, fruit, vegetables, dairy products, breads, juices, you name it. And when it doesn't work out because you can't sustain it, then you may end up damaging your self-confidence and may end up speaking very negatively to yourself. Another thing that I failed at, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? The girl or the guy on the internet did it, why can't I? And once you start that negative thinking, it's almost like a domino effect unless you catch yourself, because you can almost just keep going down the rabbit hole deeper and deeper and start thinking thoughts like, I don't like the way I look. I'll never feel good again. I'll never get better. I hate myself. No one's ever going to like me. You get the idea. So instead, a healthier way to approach this would be to say, I'm going to focus on eating more fiber. I'm going to intentionally eat more whole foods that are nutritionally dense. I'm going to drink club soda with lemon juice instead of soda. Or even I'm going to go and see a dietitian or a health coach to help guide me towards healthier food choices if I don't know what to eat. You guys, there's nothing wrong with asking for help if you need it, okay? So tip number 2 again was to break down your big goals into smaller achievable ones and to be realistic with those goals. Tip number 3 is to put pen to paper and plan out how and when you'll take steps towards your goals. One of my favorite quotes is, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. I'm old school. I like to put pen to paper and physically write out what I need to do. And I like to have a planner. This is just what works best for me. But if you work better using an electronic calendar on your computer or your phone, then by all means do that. The key here is just to start planning out when and how you're going to complete the things that will lead you closer towards your goals. If you don't block out the time to complete these things, then they are most likely not going to happen, and probably not going to be something that you stick with long term. One of my favorite movie lines is spoken by Tom Cruise in the movie Night and Day with Cameron Diaz, and he says, someday is just a code word for never. So definitely keep that in mind. And if you're struggling with figuring out how you're going to make the time to devote to whatever the task is, then I would highly recommend that you write or type out everything you do in a week from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep at night. This way you can see how you're spending your time and also where you can start to schedule in the things that will help you reach your goals. Tip number 4 is to add these new tasks into your routines. Our body loves routines and creating habits. So what better way to be consistent with a new task than to incorporate it into one of your routines? By doing this, you have a greater chance of consistently taking action towards your goals. And it's all about trial and error, so see what works best for you. For me, one of my goals last year was exercising every week to get physically stronger and to help release stress. But I have always struggled with this because, one, I'm a workaholic and I don't want to stop working, even though I know that exercise is good for me physically, emotionally, and mentally. 2, I didn't think I had time for it, so the classic time excuse. And 3, I was afraid of getting hurt because I didn't know the correct form of each exercise move. So the way that I overcame these issues is that I joined a local gym and first started working with a personal trainer. The trainer was expecting me to show up at a specific time 2 to 3 times a week, and I always made sure to make the appointments on the same day and time each week. This way I didn't even have to think about it or question when I was going to go and do it. I knew that, every Monday morning I was going to the gym at 8. And once I transitioned out of personal training, another thing that has helped me to stay consistent is by taking group classes at my local gym. My personal favorite is Zumba, but any group class is good because it starts and ends at a specific time and it occurs on the same days each week. Now at this point, exercising every week has become part of my weekly routine and something that I really, really look forward to. And lastly, tip number 5 is to revisit your goals and intentions frequently. What we think, we manifest. If you like to write down your goals using pen and paper like I do, then you can keep it in your planner or a journal close by and you can look at it regularly. Or you can look at it on your phone, again, whatever works best for you. I typically look at mine about once to twice a month. Now, I also love making a vision board and highly recommend that as well. And I love to keep a photo of that as like my screensaver on my phone and my iPad. This way I am constantly reminded of what I am working so hard for and why. In case you don't know what a vision board is, it's where you use photos and quotes cut out from magazines or Pinterest of things that are most important to you, and you can collage them together on a board, and then you put it somewhere where you can see it all the time. I do want to say, however, that if you're creating a vision board, to be careful to not choose photos or quotes that will make you feel bad about yourself or cause you to compare yourself to others. Okay, that's not the goal here. Ultimately, every time you look at it, you should be reminded of your intentions and feel motivated and empowered and inspired to keep going after your goals and your dreams. So those are my 5 tips to help you set and actually stick to your New Year's resolutions. I hope that you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and comment down below what your New Year's resolutions are. I would love to hear what your intentions and goals are for this next year. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.